Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video, which for me is very exciting. I have my top 19 eyeshadow palettes of 2019, like my top favorite palettes. Now, there is a lot more palettes that I use and I tried in the year of 2019, and there's a lot of other palettes that were in my favorites. Just because I don't mention those doesn't mean like I don't like them anymore or they're not my favorites. I really had to narrow it down because if not, we would be here for 2 days talking about palettes. I feel like palettes are like my biggest obsession in makeup. What is your biggest obsession? Is it lip gloss? Is it liquid lipstick? Is it lipsticks? I feel like besides glitter eyeshadows, palettes has to be like what's nearest and dearest to my heart. So I decided to choose 19 favorite palettes. Just to go in with the mood of 2019, or to go out with the mood of 2019. I will be having a link to all of these palettes in the description down below. I also have tutorials for the majority of these palettes. Yeah, the majority of them already on the channel if you would like to check them out. So with that being said, I'm going to go in order of the palettes I have the most to then just going to the palettes that is just one from the brand. To start off, I feel like we have to mention Colourpop was probably the top brand of palettes of 2019. And I feel like they're not going to stop this year either, but they launched the craziest amount of palettes. Like the amount of palettes they launch is, they almost launch a palette every week on Fridays. Like that was crazy to me. And I do have 5 palettes from Colourpop because one, they're affordable. I think that's what gets me all the time because I know the formulation is amazing. The formula of their eyeshadows for me is just such a great formula that I'm just like, do I want to buy an $80 palette or do I want to buy like these 3 $12 palettes from Colourpop and throw in like a $30 one that I know is going to be amazing? So I'd rather stick to Colourpop. They just get me that way all the time. So I'm going to start off with one of my loves, which is the Honey. And this is kind of like what kicked off the monochromatic little palettes for them. And I feel like those were such a hit. In my opinion, they were my favorite. Like this yellow one inspired me to buy all their other palettes, all their other monochromatic palettes, and start doing more monochromatic looks. And if you guys remember those looks on the channel, it was like yellow backdrop, yellow earrings, yellow makeup, like the whole shebang. Everything yellow, very monochromatic, and I love that so much. I even kind of did that little theme on my Instagram to where I did like, you know, the yellow looks, the green looks, the purple looks. You know, I had a little theme going on, which honestly, that is very hard to keep up with. So this was definitely one of the top ones from 2019. And this one did fall. And the only thing that happened was to this eyeshadow right here, it cracked a little at the bottom. And it fell all the way from my desk to the floor and they like all popped out. I was having a cow because I thought everything broke and it didn't, luckily. I mean, that formula is amazing if they all didn't just like to get destroyed. And I didn't get to do a video for this, but I did use it a lot and it was in my favorites. This is the Orange You Glad. Orange. I feel like if you're going to say Orange You Glad, I want to say orange instead of Orange You Glad. This is the orange one, obviously. This is what it looks like. I really like this one as well. I mean, you guys know I used orange eyeshadows the most in 2019, but it's just the color that I like to go to. Why? I don't know. I just love warm orange shades. These both retail for $12. You cannot beat that. $12 for such cute and amazing palettes. Love them. Next, we have the palette called Whatever, and I really like this one. I love the packaging on it, and this one was like one of my favorite fall palettes. It's so beautiful. Again, burgundy, warm, orange shades. That's just what I really like. This is my favorite color in this palette, this one right here, and I feel like this was the year of those mauvey shades. For me, it was like my favorite shadow, and I also really liked it in lipstick form. That's the color Maybe Later. I love that these palettes have those pressed glitters. I personally really like those palettes, and you will probably see that throughout all these palettes. It's just something that I really like. I'm actually wearing a pressed glitter today. I really like them. I feel like I've got the gist of how to work with them without making a mess and, you know, kind of like them going in my eyes. But if you do use those, if you do want to use them at your own risk. I know a lot of people don't like them. That's just my 2 cents on that. This palette retails for $18. The next one we have that was a favorite, and I know not for everyone. This is from Colourpop as well. It retails for $20 and it is their pressed glitter palette. Now, I had been wanting to try like different colors of these pressed glitters for a while. When I saw this palette came out, I was on it like that. This one, I combined these glitters with so many different looks that I really, really love this palette, and I'm going to continue to use it this year because it's just such an amazing formula, in my opinion. Again, if you're going to use them, remember to use them at your own risk. They are not recommended for the eye area. I use them there at my own risk. I think I have to throw that disclaimer out there like 3 times, but that's a palette. And this last one is probably one of my favorites. That Colourpop Lunch. Like, this one has to be my top, and it is the So Jaded palette that they did in collaboration with Kathleen Lights. Now, this was their first over 30 eyeshadow pan palette, like this big style of palette. Now they have another one, which is like a nude one. I do have that one. And then they recently launched another one, which is all warm tones. And if you guys know me, I have been trying to resist from getting that palette, but I really, really want it. Now this one, I love everything about it. The packaging, the crystals. You guys know, if you guys watched Kathleen Lights, which I'm pretty sure you guys all know who she is. She's very into crystals and all your, your zodiac signs and all that. This palette is just so beautiful. It is the palette that I'm wearing on my eyes today. I was going crazy onto which palette to choose to use today, and I was like, you know what, let me just choose this one because I wanted to use my favorite color from this palette, which is the color Ametrine, which is this one right here. And this is where I fell in love with the formula of a matte shadow with the shimmery, not shimmery, a matte shadow with glitter flecks in it. That specific shadow, this specific palette made me fall in love with those eyeshadows, and I feel like we're going to be seeing that a lot more in this year. This is one of my favorites. You guys can see the indentation in that eyeshadow. Like, I use this palette so much. I loved it. And this one retails for $39, which again, I thought was such a good price. Moving on to Alter Ego. Now, I did mention this year they did kind of add me to their PR list. They send me their new palettes, and I'm very thankful and grateful to them for thinking of little old me to try out their palettes, which, by the way, are amazing. I'm going to start off with this one, which is their Daydream palette. And it looks like this. This one retails for $18. Now, this one, I did do a dupe video, or I'm not sure if I did. But this is a really nice dupe to the Huda Beauty Nude palette. Like the colors are so beautiful. They're very, very similar to that palette. We have those pressed glitters like in the Huda Beauty palette. This was just a very, very good dupe, and it's also a very good eyeshadow palette. Even if you don't have the nude, or you do, it's still a very, very good eyeshadow palette. I really, really liked it. The formula, again, amazing. The next one is this one, which the packaging just gets me. Like, the color of this packaging, beautiful. This is the Sahara. I hope that's how you pronounce it, because I say Sahara and then I say Sahara, and I don't know which one is correct. One or the other. Tomato. This one is absolutely stunning. Look at those colors. This was a dupe or a similar palette to one of the Natasha Denona palettes, which you guys know how I feel. Like, I feel like I cut it at the $65, $67 that I bought this year palette price point, because I just can't spend like $100. I just can't bring myself to spend over $100 on an eyeshadow palette. I don't know. That's just me. This color, Plains, it's like this deep mustard grungy color, was one of my favorites from this palette. And also the color Mirage. I love putting this one with my finger on my lid because the pigmentation is just insane with your finger. I actually like to apply a lot of my shimmery shades, glittery shades with my finger. I just feel like they apply much, much nicer, and they are more vibrant and more pigmented because, like, you warm up the product as you're tapping it on your lid, and it just blends beautifully. And the last one, which I actually saw the colors on the Natasha Denona palette first, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful palette. Like, that teal shade is beautiful. And I kind of thought about it. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of thought of like, oh, maybe I can buy that palette and try it out. But then I got the email from them that they would be sending this palette, and I was like, yes! Like, I was so excited for this palette. Like, the packaging on these is amazing. Let me open it so you guys can see it. Palette, and it's amazing. Like, the formula is very buttery, very creamy, very easy to blend, and the eyeshadows are very pigmented. Some can be a bit powdery, or they can have a like extra fallout, but it doesn't affect how they apply on the eyes, which is what really matters to me. But how they perform on the eyes is essentially what really matters. Like, if I have a lot of fallout but the eyeshadow blended beautifully and it has that pigment, then the fallout, you know, it's just flick of the wrist, and we're done with the fallout. This one is another amazing one, and this one also retails for $16. Okay, I need to mention this brand. This is an affordable brand that I was very, and I mean very, very impressed with. Now, this is the brand of Profusion. I had seen their palettes a lot, and I think I had used their makeup back in the day, and it wasn't really that great. And they stepped up their game all the way up, like all the way up. Starting with this palette, which is the Sienna's palette. It's the first palette that I tried from them, from their brand Profusion, and I was shook. Like, literally, those memes, that's how I was shook. For the price of this palette, I couldn't believe how amazing, how beautiful the eyeshadows blended, how pigmented they were. I was honestly so surprised, and I still recommend this palette. Like, if you are looking for a good eyeshadow palette from the drugstore that you don't want to spend a lot of money, but you want it to work good, Profusion. Freaking Fusion. This is an amazing palette. I know the packaging is probably not the best because, I mean, it does get scratched, but I don't care about the packaging. Like, I'm not going to put the packaging on my eyes. I'm putting the eyeshadow, which is what really matters. And these are amazing. I feel like I used this all summer long, and a lot of you were tired of me using this palette, but it's amazing. $10 freaking dollars. Like, I couldn't believe the price on this. $10 for how good it is. Shook. Now, the next palette we have, which is one of my favorites as well, is the Mirage Palette. This one came out, and as soon as I saw it, I was hunting down Walmarts to find this palette until I finally found it. And when I found it, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I wanted to take them all, but literally only needed one. So this one has the pressed glitters as well. The formula on these eyeshadows is just amazing. It's just like the Sienna's palette. Like, if I love this palette, I love this one even more, especially with those pressed glitters. I use those pressed glitters so much. And I feel like for me, it was a year of pressed glitters. I just really like them. I'm wearing a pressed glitter today. They're beautiful in my opinion. Now, this one retails for $13. $3 more. It's a little bit bigger, and it has more formulas, I would say. I still recommend these. Like, if you guys can find these babies on Walmart, Target, or find them in the link down below, bomb. Okay, moving on to Miss Huda Beauty. I feel like I've been a fan of her eyeshadow palettes ever since I purchased the first one, the Rose Gold palette. And I bought the original one, which for me, it was an amazing formula. I don't know why they did the remastered one. I thought it was pretty freaking good, but it is what it is. We have the very so popular new Nude palette. This was probably one of the most duped palettes of 2019. Literally, like, left and right dupes coming out for this palette, because I know it is pricey. $65, but it's beautiful. Like, I love her formula. This to me is a splurge that I will splurge on. Her palettes. I love them so much. The packaging, the aesthetic, the formula, everything. I really like her palettes. I know a lot of people think that they're overpriced, and to each their own. But that is why I love finding dupes for you guys and creating dupes for you guys, because I know a lot of people don't want to spend $65, or they can't, and that is okay. That is why I like to do dupe videos and find good affordable dupes. Pick up the Nude Rich, and I feel like these were like three little babies from the Nude palette since it was so popular. The packaging is beautiful. It's like an acrylic, packaging with a, what is a snake or crocodile print. I'm pretty sure it's faux. But this is a Nude Rich, and this is the one that caught my attention the most because they had a nude light, a nude medium, and a nude rich. And I really like the formula on this. I want the nude medium. The nude light, I feel is just too light for me, or the colors are just too light. These are colors that I would do like an everyday look, a dramatic look. My favorite shade in this one is this one right here. There we go. This one right here is one of my favorites, and the shimmery right on top. They were the ones that I used the most. And let's move on to single palettes from, not single palettes, but like one specific palette from the brand. I'm going to start off with this one because I feel like this one's important to mention. Now, I didn't find this anymore. I didn't find the link for it from the website, which this is a Cage Link palette, and this was sent to me from King Beauty. They sent me a couple of palettes. This was definitely one of my absolute favorites, which is why it's in here. It's the first time I had seen packaging like this. Very different, but very unique. So I really, really fell in love with it. This is another of the palettes that has that eyeshadow that is like matte with the little shimmer flecks, not shimmer, glitter flecks. And my favorite color in this palette was this one down here. Again, that mauvey, like warm shade. And this one up here was another of my favorites. Loved, loved, loved this one. Now this one retails for $9.99 on Amazon. That's the link I found for you guys, and I found the most reviewed and the seller that sold the most, that had the most positive reviews and all that. That's the one I linked down below for you guys. So the Cage Link palette, beautiful. The pigment in these are amazing. The palette is just stunning. Next, we have another dupe. This one I did a dupe video for the Nude Huda Beauty palette. This was one of my favorite dupes for that palette. Like the affordability. The affordability of these palettes and the amazing quality of them is what makes it such an amazing dupe. As you can see, it has very, very, I mean, the colors look spot on. And if you guys haven't seen those dupe videos, I will be creating a playlist so you guys can just oh, I'm losing it. I will create a playlist so you can just like go through all the dupes that I've done, and I will continue to add all the dupes that I do this year because I'm going with everything looking for dupes. So this one is really, really spot on. Like the Daydream palette, they are amazing quality. I use this one a lot. So I don't have the link for the one I bought, but I did find it at 3 other places, which I will link down below. So King Beauty, and they have it for $10, which is the cheapest place that I found from the places that, you know, I will link for you guys. Amazon, I found another good like seller that had the most positive reviews and sold the most palettes. That one retailed for $11.99. And then on Ucanbe, which I've tried a lot of their palettes and they are amazing. And they retail for $13.50. So those 3 will be the links that I will have for you guys. And then you can choose whichever one you want to buy from. Moving on to the next palette, which is from Makeup Revolution. Now, I discovered their brand on Ulta and I started seeing a lot of their dupes they were creating. You know, they do a lot of dupes for different brands. But the palette that caught my attention was a collaboration they did with someone called Soph X. I honestly don't know exactly who she is. I really didn't know. I just was intrigued to the palette. That's just what this one's called. So this one retails for $15, and I really, really like the color story on it because I felt like I can use this in fall and summer, and it was a really, really pretty palette. The colors are very, very pigmented, and the formula is really good. So the ones that I use the most are these 3 eyeshadows. I did use more from the palette, but those are the ones that like I found myself going to whenever I was doing my makeup, which is why I had to put it to the side so that I can use other things. You guys know, like my color of the year is warm orange, burgundy, berry shades. That's just what I love, and I feel like I kind of played it down a little today, but I still use that warm mauve shade in the crease and kind of like a warm brown. I just can't stay away from warm eyeshadows. So this one, amazing, $15. I can't find it at Ulta anymore, which is where I bought it, but I did link the Revolution Beauty website where it's still available. Moving on, this has to be like one of my favorite collections. I hadn't felt so excited for a collection since like MAC Hello Kitty days, when MAC was popping out the like bomb ass collections back then. Until this one. Hipdot did a collaboration with SpongeBob SquarePants. Now, if you have been on here for a while, you guys know I have a true love and obsession for SpongeBob. I still watch it every night at 11. That is playing on the TV. Even if it's just background noise or if I'm watching it, that is what's playing on my TV. I am a 27-year-old grown-ass child who still loves SpongeBob, and I don't care what anybody says. If you guys watched the review and the whole tutorial on this video, I brought out my SpongeBob mug, my t-shirt, my earrings, my slippers, like everything. This palette, I feel like I went off on a whole tangent, but anyways, the palette, it was actually really freaking good. The formula of these eyeshadows were amazing. I had never tried the brand Hipdot, but I had started seeing their other palettes, which actually caught my attention a lot. But it had to be, I had to try it with this one, and bomb. I definitely want to try more of their palettes because they do have other like warm eyeshadow palettes and warm eyeshadow palettes that I like. This one is still available. It retails for $36, and the collection is also available, which will be linked down below. We have a Dose of Colors that I tried their palettes for the first time 2019. I know I had been wanting to try them. I just never gave in to buying them. So boxycharm helped us with that. boxycharm included Dose of Color palettes in a couple of their boxes. I was so lucky to get the one that I wanted, which is this one, the Blushing Berries palette, which retails for $32, and it is still available on their website. This is their permanent palettes. But I was so happy to get it through BoxyCharm. Now I feel good buying their palettes because I already tried this and I love it. I definitely feel, I know it's pricier for a 5-pan palette, but I really like the formula of them. They're actually really good. I kept using and using this palette nonstop, and I really like it. The packaging is also beautiful. It's very cute to their aesthetic, and I really like it. Next is another palette that I got to try through BoxyCharm, and I'm so happy I did because, I mean, I feel like I judged this brand so much during the year. I included it in my anti-hauls just because, I mean, a lot of the influencer brands, I feel like, I don't really want to try them because it's like, maybe they're just slapping their name on the product and that's it, which is what I thought with her brand. You know, nothing against her, but that's just kind of how I feel lately. You know, this is from Dominique Cosmetics, and it's their, I can't speak anymore. It's the Celestial Thunder palette. Look at these colors. Like, the colors are freaking amazing. When I saw the palette, I was so excited that we were getting it at BoxyCharm. Now, this is the only one that I can't find the link for on her page because I think it was specifically made for BoxyCharm, but she does have a bigger palette. I feel like from her big one, they condensed it and made it like this. So I will put a picture of her other palette right here, which is very similar to this one, but I love the formula. The eyeshadows are amazing. I feel like this is a brand that she's not just slapping her name on the products. Like, the formulas are actually good. I also tried her lip glosses, and those were good too, and I tried them through BoxyCharm, so thank you, BoxyCharm. Thank myself for getting BoxyCharm every month because I have found some amazing gems, and this is definitely one of them. Now let's finish off on the most amazing note ever. This palette, even though it came out towards the end of the year, I mean, I used this palette 2 months straight, which is why I feel like it deserves to be in this list. And this is my absolute favorite palette of the year, like hands down. Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals Volume 1 palette is everything. I'm not even kidding. I used this palette non-stop 2 full months, November, December. This was my Thanksgiving Day makeup. This was my babe's Christmas work party makeup. This was my Christmas. This was my New Year's makeup. This just was everything for the past 2 months. 2019, November, December, I use this non-freaking stop. It retails for $48. I feel like the price is perfect for what you're getting. I honestly didn't expect less from her brand. Tati, I feel, is still one of the very few left that you can truly trust her reviews here on YouTube, because she will tell it how it is, no matter if the brand sent her the product or if she bought the product, if the product's $5 or if it's $300, which, I mean, she's one of the ones who still tries those super, super expensive brands like Guerlain and Gucci and all those brands that I'm like,
I'm sorry, like, no illegal, like, to buy those brands.
My favorite eyeshadows are these in this row that she calls her shimmers, I think. No, sequins, which is that formula that's matte with the glittery, not glittery, with glitter flecks. And they're beautiful. Those are my favorite. I know I am so dramatic, but that's how much I love palettes. Like, I just truly love eyeshadow palettes. It's probably my favorite makeup item. Besides liquid eyeshadow. But look at that orange, that black. They're matte shadows with those little glitter flecks. And if you apply those in your crease and blend it upwards, when the light hits, it's that little, like little sparkles that just look so beautiful, and it looks like something extra on your eyes and not just like a matte shadow. That has been my go-to look for the past 2 months. And I love it. Now, I will say the matte shadows do have a little more fallout than what I'm used to, but it doesn't affect how they work on the eyes, which is what's most important to me. And I just thought I'd give you guys that note. So yeah, another thing I want to mention is that I just, you know, saw the info. I know it's been sold out for a while. January 10th, Friday, this Friday coming up, January 10th, this palette will be restocked. So if you've been looking for the palette to be available again, sorry, brain fart, no, I really had it. It will be available again, and she will be also announcing like another product that will be available. I'm just so excited. I want to see the next palette they're coming out with, because girl, like, give it all to me. I want them all. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. So that was basically my top 19 eyeshadow palettes of 2019. I'm excited for 2020. Will be 20 top palettes. So we will be adding one new one to the mix. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was long. This is going to be the week of favorites. I'm doing a specific skincare favorites and my top products of 2019. So be on the lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support and for watching. And like always, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.